I'm from the class of 87, and it's great to be back in school. I, um, I'm going to try and tell you briefly, as clearly as I can, what it is a grip does. Um, it's, uh, it's a part of the filmmaking process, but critically what we do is we take an idea that was written on paper by a director, and we try and translate it into a physical shot. Because someone comes up with an idea, someone writes a script, the script is the birth of an idea, and we try to figure out a way to make that idea, understand the idea, and take it forward into becoming a shot, and then finally into a movie. So what I've done is I've put together, I'll explain some stuff, and then I put together a little bit of a video because some of this stuff is very difficult to explain in words. So I'll some words and some video. So bear with me. So the key grip has two basic responsibilities. The first is the shaping of light. I mean, it's not the first, it's one of the functions which I won't get into here. And the second is the translation of our idea into a physical shot, which is what I'm going to get into here. And it's the part that I feel very, very passionate about and what I'm primarily a specialist in doing. So the writer writes a script, the director works it into a screenplay. This is broken down into shots that will be edited together to make us scenes. The scenes are then stitched together to make a movie. Lots and lots of people with a variety of skills work together to make this happen. Editors, makeup artists, art department, construction people, painters, so many people. So where does the grip come into this? So the key idea is the camera is often seen as the eyes of the viewer. So you are basically, the camera is seen as the proxy for the viewer. So the grip, being the person who rigs and moves the camera, moves the eyes of the viewer, and in doing so moves the story. You actually move the process of telling the story. So the way it's actually broken down is quite an interesting process, maybe interesting to you, but it's there's a whole bunch of creativity, a lot of physics, a lot of mathematics, a lot of many things that I was never very good at in school get called into effect. Suddenly there are moments when I remember Mr. Unikrishnan's lectures on Newton's laws, and a lot of it finally comes into play, and you see where the application of all of this comes into. It's being thrown into a situation and finding creative solutions to make shots happen with whatever you have available. Sometimes you have a lot of prep, months and months. Sometimes you have 10 minutes to come up with an idea. So here. I put together a few examples of how we come up with a solution to a problem. Now, what do I do with this? How do I make this full screen? You do? Yeah. Okay. So can I pause it?
Move on to the cheaper cuts. It's just
okay. So this is from a movie that I did called the Grand Budapest Hotel. We've got a scene here where you have the actors are in a train talking, and they get stopped at a checkpoint. The director, Wes Anderson, was very keen that we shoot this at the actual location so that the actors engage with what they're actually seeing. They're cold with the real snow. We don't do it inside a studio with a green screen. So now, there wasn't any actual train that goes in the location he wants to shoot at. So we came up, on the left of the screen, you'll see, sorry, can you hear me at the back there? So on the left of the screen, you'll see what it was that we, maybe let's pull this out. Oops, sorry. The wrong thing. But you'll see on the left side of the screen what we were doing, and on the right side of the screen you'll see the shot. So it gives you a little bit of a... this edit was not actually done by me. It was done by some Spanish guy on some internet TV channel, and I wrote to him and asked him, I said, that footage was shot by me and you're using it illegally. Can you at least send me the edit that you've made? So, so he sent me the edit. So, sorry.
Fine with me because I like those. More flavorful, so they say. Why are we stopping at a barley field?
So that's one way in which we come up with a solution. We're told we need to do this. We have to find a solution. We build a little piece of the train, and that's all you're ever going to see. So we build that, put it on track, and then we just run and push it. So now over here, you're going to see first how we did the shot, and then just so that this one I had both sections available on my computer, so I just put it together. So here you'll see, this is, you're looking over the shoulder of Wes Anderson, who's the director, and he's seeing the shot on his monitor, and then the camera will tilt up to show you me doing a very high-tech version of how the shot is being made. So the train pulls into the station. It stops. The guy's running now with the steam from the steam locomotive. And he puts in the steam. And then, because the train has just stopped, and then Ed Norton walks up, and now you'll see the shot.
By Express Wireless, I wrote Agatha with instructions to move to our pre-arranged hideout, a gypsy caravan on the outer Riversdale Road, while Monsieur Gustav and I continued east into the Zabrowskian Alps, toward our high-altitude rendezvous with the butler, Serge X. As a precaution, we disembarked quietly in the freight yard just outside the station.
So that was, it's just, you can't think in ways that people have done, how have people done this before. You have to constantly think of new ways because the solutions are never, there's no packaged solution for any problem that ever crops up on a movie set. So you're constantly having to think of something new. This is from the same movie, another scene where we had to chase this taxi through the streets of what was supposed to be Nebelsbad, but in reality was a town called Dresden. And the streets were very narrow, and we had to do a lot of shots behind this old taxi, and it was going through. Our traditional method of shooting is off a big vehicle with an arm mounted on it, and it's got a massive footprint. But when we did the test, we couldn't fit it into those streets. So we came up with another solution, which was not so comfortable for me, but it worked really well, which is a quad bike, which is what they use on farms and stuff like that. And with me harnessed to the front of it with a Steadicam. So this is another a director on a movie that I've just done, which unfortunately he's panning the camera around because the film has not yet released, so we can't have it on the YouTube video. So this is the director's brief. Was he had an idea in his head, which is I can't reveal the story in any great detail, but the character is in a stage where the viewer doesn't know if he's losing his mind or if he's the story unfolds and you're not quite sure what's happening to the guy, but he can't say it in any word. The director is the narrator of the story. He can't say it, can't put it in words. He wanted a cue from the way the camera moves that would give the viewer an unsettled feeling. Something's not quite right, because we spend all our time trying to draw the viewer's attention away from the camera, to not notice the camera. He wanted the viewer to notice the camera. And he showed me a reference which is from a video game called Grand Theft Auto. And the reference is a computer-generated image which exists in a world where physics doesn't exist. You can do things that you can't possibly do in reality. So the way the camera is moved, which is swinging around really fast around the character when you go front and back, he sent me the reference and I scratched my head for a bit trying to figure out what to do. And we thought of many solutions like building robotic camera rigs that would fire, but we were shooting inside sugarcane fields in the Dominican Republic, and it was very difficult to get what we needed there. So we came up with a very kind of agricultural, mechanical solution. So I've speeded up the video a bit because I'm petrified of this 15-minute deadline that I have to finish. So a lot of the video has been speeded up. Similarly, this video is also from the same movie where, again, the same effect, which is we always traditionally track with actors, and when actors stop, we stop. When they walk away, we let them walk away. When cameras move to follow them, it follows a linear kind of, it follows like a curve that you would take if you were walking. He wanted something to, oh really, oops. So he wanted something that would make it, kind of a little more unreal. So we had to come up with, so I was fooling around with toy trains trying to figure out how to make the camera move in a way that would be non-smooth. I mean, anyway, you'll see. Okay, now I'm going to speed through this because I've just been told I have 3 minutes left. This is now, just to give you an idea, when a director says that he wants to shoot something, there's a scene on a boat, like a big section of a scene happens on a boat. And the traditional way to do that now would be to go into a studio, put up a green screen, construct the boat on the green screen, put it on a gimbal, shake it around, and put everything else in post-production on a computer. The director on this was very, very clear that he wanted to shoot at sea on a boat, and the actors had to be on the real sea to feel what they were feeling. So this is just a little video put together to give you an idea what goes into the planning on my part to make that simple thing that the director says, I want to shoot at sea. So this is just a little clip of something. So this is the moving of all the heavy equipment onto barges, figuring out how we're going to lock them all together. This is the flotilla, picture boat, crane barge, video village, actors' green rooms. That's a section of the boat that we had to build separately to shoot different angles. When the sun was too backlit, we needed to bounce the light back, so we constructed this huge thing here. That's the telescopic crane on it. So all of this goes into the fact that he decided that he wanted to shoot it at sea. And this is us rehearsing without the actors, how we're going to actually film all of this stuff with the boats. So okay, now, sorry. This is now. I'm not going to very little preamble, but what I'm going to put together is a little bit of it's a little bit of a slideshow, then a video of a rehearsal, and then finally the final product that we shot. It's now you can shoot now what we're doing. Yeah. So it's for a TV show called Sense8 on Netflix, and this is an action sequence, and it'll show you a little bit of how we plan trying to get all the camera angles and in advance. And then finally the rehearsals of what we do, I mean just a little bit of it, and then the final edit. So measurement, 2 actors from the tracking vehicles. This was in Seoul, South Korea. So we plan all the shots. You know, we have to prep for everything because it's a fairly complex, involved. It's almost 2 months of rigging and fabricating all of the stuff that goes into the sequence that you'll see shortly. This is the first rehearsals and trials. And this is the edit of what we... That's it. So that's it.
Sure. We have time for one question from any of the students. We are running a little behind time. So,
apprenticeship. There's no school that teaches it. I do workshops with film schools for final year cinematography students, but there is no school that actually teaches it. It's a process of apprenticeship. It's old school, learn under a master kind of school, like all the trade schools, basically similar kind of thing.
Go ahead.
We work for the cinematographer. We work for the cinematographer. So the cinematographer is the director of photography. He is involved in ideating the plan for all the technical departments. The two important ones are lighting and grip. So the grip is also involved in lighting, but that's a separate story. So we work for the cinematographer. Yeah. Yeah, Serenity, yeah. How do you know about it?
Okay, one last question.
No. There's a 2-hour special, kind of like a movie to wrap the story up, but it's done. It's too expensive.
Sanjay, thank you very much.
Thank you.